There's a place in America that doesn't exist on most maps. A place so secret, so hidden, that even saying its name makes people whisper. It sits in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by mountains, surrounded by silence. From the outside, it looks like a normal building. Maybe a school, maybe an office. But if you look closer, you'll see something strange. The windows are too thin, like slits, like eyes that can only look out, never in. This is ADX Florence, and it holds America's darkest secrets. 335 men live here, but love isn't the right word. They exist. 23 hours a day locked in a concrete box. 7 feet wide, 12 feet long. Alone, no voices, no sounds. Just silence. The guards call it the clean version of hell. The prisoners call it something else. They call it the place where hope dies. But here's what nobody tells you. Here's the secret that keeps you awake at night. Every single person locked inside this building, changed the world. Some changed it with bombs, some with bullets, some with poison, some with power so terrible entire governments fell to their knees. And today, we're going to meet them. But first, let me tell you something strange. Something that happened just last week. A man tried to sue the prison. He said the conditions were too harsh, too cruel. He said being locked in silence for 23 hours was torture. Want to know who that man was? The most powerful drug lord in history. A man who escaped from maximum security prisons twice. A man who built tunnels under entire cities. A man whose cartel was linked to over 34,000 deaths. Even he can't escape ADX Florence. His name? We'll get to that. But first you need to understand something important. This prison has never had an escape. Not one. Not since it opened in 1994. 31 years without a single person breaking free. Why? Because ADX Florence isn't just a prison. It's a puzzle designed by the smartest minds in security. Motion sensors, pressure pads, laser beams, steel doors that weigh tons. And every single movement, every breath, watched by cameras. But the real genius? The design makes escape impossible, even if you break out of your cell. Because the hallways lead nowhere. The doors open to more doors. It's a maze built to trap you inside your own hope. So who gets sent here? What do you have to do to end up in the most secure prison on planet Earth? Let's start with the date. September 11th, 2001. You probably know this date. The day America changed forever. The day towers fell. The day almost 3,000 people died. But here's what most people don't know. 8 years before that terrible day, someone else tried to knock down those same towers. In 1993, a massive bomb exploded in the parking garage under the World Trade Center. 6 people died. Over 1,000 were injured. The bomber wanted to topple one tower into the other, killing tens of thousands. The bomb didn't work the way he planned. But he promised he'd be back. He never got the chance. Because now he lives in ADX Florence. Cell number unknown. Name. We'll reveal that soon. But there's another man here. A man connected to September 11th. The only person ever convicted in an American court for those attacks. He was caught before the towers fell. Arrested for acting suspicious at a flight school. He wanted to learn how to fly a plane. But he didn't care about learning how to land. The FBI knew something was wrong, but they didn't know what. Not until it was too late. After September 11th, the truth came out. He was part of the plan. He was supposed to be on one of those planes, but he got arrested 3 weeks too early. Some people say he could have prevented everything if he had just told the truth. 3,000 lives, gone, and he knew it was coming. Now he sits alone, 23 hours a day, for the rest of his life, with nothing but his thoughts and his secrets. Want to know his name? Want to know what he looks like now, decades later, alone in that concrete box? Hit that subscribe button, because the secrets we're about to reveal will shock you. Drop a comment below. Have you ever heard of ADX Florence before today? Now, let me tell you about December 22nd, 2001. A man gets on a plane. American Airlines Flight 63. Paris to Miami. He's wearing big shoes. Thick shoes. Heavy shoes. Halfway across the ocean, he does something strange. He tries to light a match. Then another match. Then another. A flight attendant smells something. Something burning. She walks over and sees him. He's trying to light his shoe on fire. His shoe. On a plane. 30,000 feet over the Atlantic Ocean. She screams. Passengers rush over. The man fights back. He's strong. Very strong. It takes multiple people to hold him down. They tie him up with seat belts and headphone cords. The plane makes an emergency landing in Boston. When bomb experts check his shoes, they find enough explosives to blow a hole in the side of the plane. Everyone would have died. Drowning in the freezing Atlantic. No survivors. No bodies ever found. All because of a shoe. Now, every time you go through airport security and take off your shoes, that's because of him. That's his legacy. Making millions of people walk barefoot through metal detectors. His name is Richard Reed, the shoe bomber. He's in ADX Florence now. 3 life sentences plus 110 years. Just in case he somehow survives 3 lifetimes. But here's the twist. Here's the part that makes you wonder about fate and luck and chance. He tried to light those matches on the rainiest day of the year. His shoes were damp. The matches wouldn't light properly. If it had been a sunny day, if his feet hadn't been sweating, if the humidity had been just a little bit lower. You see, this prison isn't just filled with evil. It's filled with failures. Men who almost succeeded. Men who came so close to doing something so terrible that we'd still be talking about it generations from now. And that's what keeps me up at night, because for every person in ADX Florence, there's a moment. A tiny moment. Where everything could have gone differently. What if the matches had lit? What if the FBI hadn't noticed the flight school? What if security had been just a little bit less careful? Let me tell you about another moment like that. April 19th, 1995. Oklahoma City. A beautiful spring morning. A truck pulls up outside a government building. A big truck. A rental truck. Inside the truck, nearly 5,000 pounds of explosives. Ammonium nitrate. Nitromethane. Diesel fuel. Mixed together in a recipe for death. At 9:02 a.m., the truck explodes. The building collapses. A daycare center on the 2nd floor falls through the wreckage. 19 children die. 168 people total. Gone in an instant. It was the worst terrorist attack on American soil. Until September 11th, 2 men built that bomb. One of them, Timothy McVeigh, pressed the button. He was executed in 2001. The other one, Terry Nichols. He helped build it. He stole the explosives. He mixed the chemicals. But he wasn't there when it went off. He was at home, 400 miles away. Some people say that makes him less guilty. But the court disagreed. They gave him 161 life sentences. 1 for each victim who wasn't a child. Plus federal charges. Plus more time. He's 70 years old now. Locked in ADX Florence. With nothing but time to think about what he helped create. But here's what bothers me. Here's the question that haunts investigators even today. Was there a third person? Someone who helped but was never caught? Someone still out there, free, living a normal life? The FBI says no, but some people who studied the case, they're not so sure. Before we go deeper into this mystery, smash that subscribe button. The story is about to get even darker. Now, let me tell you about the most famous prisoner in ADX Florence. The one whose name you definitely know, even if you don't know he's here. He's not American. He's not a terrorist. He's something different. Something that sounds like it belongs in a movie, not real life. He ran an empire, not a country, an empire. His organization controlled drugs flowing into America. Billions of dollars. They built submarines, actual submarines, to smuggle cocaine under the ocean. They built tunnels, not small tunnels. Tunnels with lights, ventilation, motorcycles to ride through them. One tunnel was over a mile long. It came up inside a house, right under the bathtub. He escaped from prison twice. The first time hidden in a laundry cart. The second time through that tunnel on a motorcycle. While cameras watched his cell the entire time, Mexico was terrified of him. America wanted him. He was called public enemy #1. When they finally caught him and put him on trial, the security was insane. The jury was anonymous, protected, hidden, because everyone knew his power reached everywhere. He was convicted, sent to America, to ADX Florence. And here's the crazy part. Here's what tells you everything you need to know about this place. Since he arrived in July 2019, he has tried everything to get out. He sued the prison. His wife pleaded with the president. His lawyers filed motion after motion. Nothing worked. The man who escaped from 2 maximum security prisons can't escape ADX Florence. His name? Joaquin Guzman. But the world knows him as El Chapo. And if he can't escape, nobody can? Now here's where the story gets really dark, really personal, really close to home. Because everything I've told you so far, those were crimes that happened far away, buildings across the country, planes over the ocean, towers in big cities. But what I'm about to tell you, this could have been your neighbor, your doctor, the person who smiled at you in the hospital hallway. Let me ask you a question. When you go to the doctor, you trust them, right? You trust they'll make you better. You trust they won't hurt you. Now imagine this. You're sick. You go to the hospital. The doctor seems nice. He smiles. He gives you medicine. You start to feel better. But then something strange happens. Patients around you start dying. Not from their sickness. From something else. Something nobody can explain. One patient dies. Then another. Then another. The hospital gets worried. They start investigating. And they notice something terrifying. Every single patient who died, they all had the same doctor. His name was Joseph Swango. And he wasn't trying to save lives. He was taking them. They think he killed 60 people. Maybe more. Patients, colleagues, anyone he could poison. He'd put something in their food, in their drinks, in their medicine. Why, nobody really knows. He kept a scrapbook of disasters, plane crashes, natural disasters, death. He was fascinated by death. When they finally caught him, when they finally locked him away in ADX Florence, he only admitted to 4 murders. Only 4. But everyone knows the real number is much, much higher. Think about that. A doctor, someone who promised to heal, someone you'd trust with your life. And he's just one of 335 men in this prison. But let me tell you something that'll really mess with your mind. Something about the youngest person ever sent to ADX Florence. He was 19 years old, just a teenager. Still had his whole life ahead of him. He lived in Boston. Normal life, normal family. He went to college. His friends said he was quiet, nice, a good kid. Then one day in April 2013, he and his brother did something that changed Boston forever. They built 2 bombs, pressure cooker bombs, filled with nails and ball bearings and metal fragments, designed to rip through flesh. They took those bombs to the Boston Marathon. Thousands of people were there. Families, children, people cheering for the runners. They left the bombs in backpacks, and the crowd, and they walked away. At 2:49 p.m., the first bomb exploded. 12 seconds later, the second one went off. 3 people died, a little boy, a young woman, a graduate student. 264 people were injured. 17 lost legs, arms, eyes. The city went into lockdown. Police searched everywhere. The brothers tried to run. His older brother died in a shootout with police, but he escaped. Hid in a boat in someone's backyard. Bleeding, scared, alone. They caught him. They put him on trial. And here's what shocked everyone. He showed no emotion, no remorse, nothing. The jury sentenced him to death. And normally, death row inmates go to a prison in Indiana, a place called Terre Haute. But not him. He went to ADX Florence instead, because even other prisoners wanted him dead. Even hardened criminals, murderers, drug lords, they hate people who kill children, so he sits in his cell, 7 feet by 12 feet, waiting for an execution date that may never come. His name is Johat Sarnaev, and he's one of only 3 people left on federal death row. The president could have saved him. In December 2024, President Biden looked at 40 people on death row. He commuted 37 of their sentences, changed them from death to life in prison, but not Sarnaev, not the shoe bomber, not the synagogue shooter. Those 3 were too evil. Even mercy couldn't reach them. Now let me take you back to 1993 again, back to that first World Trade Center bombing I mentioned earlier. The bomber's name was Ramzi Youssef, and he wasn't just trying to knock down a building. He had a bigger plan, a much bigger plan. After the 1993 bombing failed, he fled to the Philippines, and there he created something called the Bajinka Plot. The plan? Blow up 11 airplanes, all at the same time, over the Pacific Ocean, kill 4,000 people in a single day. He started testing. He built a small bomb, got on Philippine Airlines Flight 434, put the bomb under his seat, got off at a layover. 2 hours later, the bomb exploded, killed 1 man, almost brought down the plane. But that was just the test. The real attack was coming. Then something lucky happened. Something so lucky, so random that it saved thousands of lives. Youssef was mixing chemicals in his apartment in Manila, making more bombs, and something went wrong. A small fire started. The apartment building filled with smoke. Firefighters came. Police came. They found bomb-making materials everywhere. Fake passports, plane schedules, the entire plot mapped out on a laptop. Youssef ran, disappeared. The FBI hunted him across the world. They finally found him in Pakistan, in a guest house, sleeping. When they flew him back to America, the helicopter passed over New York City, over the Twin Towers, still standing, still whole. An FBI agent said to him, "See those towers? They're still standing." Youssef looked down at the city, and he said, "They wouldn't be if I had enough money and explosives." Cold, calculated, no emotion at all. He got life in prison plus 240 years, just to be safe. And here's the creepy part. Here's what connects everything. His mother's brother. That man would finish what Youssef started. On September 11th, 2001, his uncle masterminded the attack that finally brought down those towers. His uncle's name? Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Evil runs in families sometimes. Drop a comment right now. Which story shocked you the most? The doctor? The teenager? The shoe bomber? Let us know below. But I saved the strangest story for last. The one that doesn't make sense. The one that proves truth is stranger than fiction. There was a man who worked for the FBI, a special agent, someone trusted with America's deepest secrets. For 22 years he sold those secrets to Russia, to the Soviet Union. He gave them everything. Names of American spies. They were executed, locations of secret operations. They were destroyed, technology, intelligence, everything. The Department of Justice called it possibly the worst intelligence disaster in U.S. history. He did it for money, over $1.4 million, but also for something else, for the thrill, for the game. His name was Robert Hansen, and nobody suspected him. Not for 22 years. They finally caught him in 2001, a park in Virginia. He was leaving a package of secrets under a bridge. For his Russian handlers, FBI agents swarmed in, arrested him, found diamonds, cash, evidence of decades of betrayal. He got 15 life sentences, sent to ADX Florence, and here's the twist. Here's the ending that nobody saw coming. In June 2023, guards found him in his cell, dead, 79 years old. Some people say it was natural causes. Heart attack, old age. But other people wonder if someone got to him. Wonder if Russia decided he knew too much. Wonder if even in the most secure prison in America, secrets can still kill you. We'll never know the truth, because that's what ADX Florence is. a collection of secrets. A building full of men who changed the world, locked away where they can never do it again. 335 men, 23 hours a day in silence, some for terrorism, some for murder, some for betrayal. And here's what keeps me up at night. Here's the real horror. Every single one of them was once just a regular person. They had families, friends, normal lives. The doctor was someone's son. The bomber was someone's brother. The spy was someone's father. They made choices. Small choices that led to bigger choices. Until one day they crossed a line they could never uncross. And now they sit in concrete boxes. Alone, with nothing but their thoughts and their memories and their regrets. If they have regrets, some of them don't. Some of them still think they were right. Still think they were heroes. Still believe their cause justified everything. That's the scariest part. Not that they did terrible things, but that some of them would do it all over again if they could. The prison has cameras everywhere, motion sensors, steel doors, guards, technology, but none of that stops the thoughts, the plans, the dreams of freedom. El Chapo still fights his case, still sues the prison, still believes somehow, some way he'll find a way out. The terrorists still pray, still believe their God will save them. The murderers still remember, still see the faces of their victims in their dreams. And every single day the sun rises over the Colorado mountains, shines through those thin window slits, reminds them of a world they can see but never touch. ADX Florence, the cleanest version of hell, where hope goes to die, where America's worst nightmares are locked away. 335 men, 335 stories, 335 reasons why this prison exists. And in 31 years, not one escape. Not one, because some people are too dangerous to ever be free again. Some crimes are too terrible to ever be forgiven. Some secrets are too dark to ever see the light. That's the truth about ADX Florence. That's the truth about the place that doesn't exist on most maps. The place where monsters live. The place where evil is locked away. Forever. If this documentary opened your eyes to a world you never knew existed, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Share this video with someone who needs to know the truth. Because the scariest stories aren't in movies. They're real. They're happening right now. And they're locked behind concrete walls in the middle of nowhere, Colorado. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and remember the world is stranger and darker than you ever imagined.